Jan van Dijs. I am a local construction manager, developer, and designer, and my office is located here in Long Beach. Our original concept for this project was always residential. If you can kind of envision going back a good 10 years, this building was empty, and I don't want to say it was in derelict state, but it wasn't an asset. This seemed to cut off any pedestrian traffic from downtown to which actually is one of the more interesting parts of downtown, which is the East Village. Nobody would cross, it was no man's land between there and there. So we always envisioned this as a residential project from day one. It would help activate both this area, this corner, and be a bridge from the East Village to downtown. It was built in 1959 by the Southern California Edison Company as their Southern California headquarters. It was in the mid-century style, and it was built in a time where the United States was really, I think, firing on all cylinders when it comes to architecture. It wasn't just an office building, it was something of a statement, right? It was state-of-the-art in terms of its technology, it was state-of-the-art in terms of its air conditioning systems and its passive solar energy and all of these things. So it was a really interesting building, and it was extremely well built. After Edison relocated their headquarters, the city of Long Beach took it over for the police department. So in our initial surveys of the building, there was tons of police department stuff in here. There was file cabinets, there was mug shots, there was, you name it. They left everything but the guns. In terms of the main tower, I think we stayed pretty close to the exterior to the extent of the building. The steel paneling, restoring the grids, using the existing mullions and creating a modern mullion system with operable windows inside the existing grid of the mullion. The restoration of the lobby, I think, was a significant issue architecturally. So I think the project came out really beautiful. I mean, every adaptive reuse project has tons of surprises because you think, oh, I got it figured out, and you never have it figured out. It's always worse than you think, but the results are often better than you think. So there's that trade-off. You think you can visualize what it's going to look like on a project like this, or American Hotel, or the Arts Building, or any of these other projects. I think they all came out better than I hoped. The difficulties of adaptive reuse, especially in an urban area, starts, number one, with how do you bring the utilities into this building, right? As we discussed earlier, this was kind of like no man's land over here. They hadn't even extended the phone system utilities to this side of town. So it's like you're negotiating with the phone companies. You're trying to get infrastructure in terms of fire lines and sewer lines. I mean, these are usually your initial struggles, and they can be rather significant. You just really need to know what you're doing. One of the reasons that we've had a lot of success with adaptive reuse is we kind of have a system of how we move forward on a project. And our system involves a lot of site investigation, a lot of site investigation. So often we'll go to the city and say, we want a non-structural demolition permit. And we will spend weeks or months removing material, because the problem in adaptive reuse is that if you design too early technically, and then you start exposing things and you have dramatic shifts in what the structure is, then you have to go back and redesign. So our goal is always to expose as much of the structure as possible, then do an accurate survey, and then build our design off of an accurate survey. If you do it the other way around, it's kind of the recipe for disaster. And it's really important to understand the structure. Like in this case, it was really important to understand window line because we had seismic struts that actually prevented those penetrations. And so it was an enormous amount of coordination, but all that was hidden to us under a heavy layer of plaster. So you really got to dig in hard in order to determine some of those things. In the beginning, very beginning, it's very satisfying because it's all creative and you're having fun and you haven't hit any of the problems yet, right? And then reality sets in and it gets probably a little discouraging. It really does, and then some of the costs come in, or things always go wrong, they really do. And then, it starts getting satisfying again towards the end when you start seeing things come together and you start seeing finishes and you realize, okay, this wasn't such a bad idea after all. For me, it's an awful lot of fun. I love it. When we're doing a project, I'm on site every day. I'm talking to the contractors every day. I'm talking to the subcontractors every day. I'm involved in the materials. And it really gives me a huge sense of satisfaction.